and then emailed,
Okay.
Susan responded.
I can get rid of this one.
Emailed it to her, and now, just open the door. That's what I did, is open the door. And I went, okay.
We will open this meeting of the Board of Selectmen, October 27th, 2014. Let the record show that Selectman LaPlante is not here. Selectman Scanlon will be coming. At this time, I would like to make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, personnel.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, which one we're going to open first? Nuts? Nuts?
We're ready.
Make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to personnel permanently.
I got a question. Not all of that was personnel.
Yeah, all of those positions would be personnel.
Job
You were
description.
discussing the specific position and the information specific to that position, but there was a grander discussion there about,
Right.
well, I can't say because...
Well, yes, but remember, we're going to have that conversation
In public.
in public without.
Second.
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so in this report, your first page, you'll see that the draft budget is split out by department. And you'll see the operating expenses, the budgets and actual for 2012, 13, and 14. And then there's a note column, and then you see the department request, and then the change over 2013. And then you can see the percent change for those. Overall, we're looking at currently a 2.59% increase over 2013. And there's still two areas that have yet to be determined.
2.5?
2.59, that's correct. And the two areas that have not yet been finished, one is in culture and recreation. We don't have yet the Parks Commission budget, but they are meeting tonight, and I was told that they're going to be discussing the budget, so hopefully we'll have a preliminary number from them. But contained within this budget is their 2013 amount, so as the default amount. And then in the administrative budget, we're awaiting rates for health and dental, disability, and life. So we do have the property liability, unemployment, and workers' comp insurance.
And I just received the health and dental today at like 3 o'clock this afternoon, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks, I'll get the short-term and long-term disability. And also, I've received quotations from one other health insurance provider, and the other health insurance provider will have it by November 1st.
Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of what we're missing out of this. On page 2...
I have a question.
Yes.
In these departments, the increases, and I'm not looking at outside agents, culture, recreation, health, welfare, blah, are these attributed to wage?
In some cases, yes. Not in all cases.
Well, no, I see the public works is actually going down.
Right. It's primarily true of town clerk, tax collector, land use, and...
But it's not
police.
true of IT, right?
No, that's correct.
Well, now IT is, yeah.
That's mostly stuff.
Hardware.
Toys.
Hardware.
Toys. We're going to call him Bling Number 2.
Yeah, no, we'll get to
Checking
that.
that list twice.
Yep. On
Santa Claus.
On page 2, what you have there is you have our operating budget. So if you look at on page 1, there's $5,046,383 is the total operating expense budget as it exists now. And on page 2, on the third from the right column, it totals $5,046,383 as well. But you're looking at this is a different way of looking at the town. So it shows you all wages in the top line, all benefits, personnel benefits underneath it, and then all taxes that are personnel related. So all told, wages, benefits, and employer taxes amount to about 60% of the town of Tilton's budget. I've broken things out also on a per capita
But
basis.
this includes what we have not
That's correct.
approved.
Right.
Okay.
But it would not be much different. It wouldn't be much different.
Right, but I wanted to see,
60%.
without changing it, what would it be?
Correct.
Right, he's going to bring that Thursday.
I will. So, but you're looking at 60% personnel and personnel-related costs, and then you can see also in ranking of highest to lowest, our purchase services, these are really contracts, and I've put notes down below what each of these includes, but these are our contracts for curbside collection, assessing, janitorial, all that sort of thing. Things that we've signed contracts where we're not providing the service ourselves, but we're hiring someone else to do it. You can see then debt social includes a number of things, including outside agencies, health and welfare. And then you can see down the line how things break out. So it's just another way of looking at the budget. On page 3, that's just simply a status. Probably the most important thing is at the top where it shows the data when it was last updated and the budget when it was last updated. So I import our expenditure data so that the 2014 expenses are as of that date. It says data last updated, or 10/23. So, which was the last time we had an expense manifest. So then, if you look at each of these departments, starting with administrative.
Why is the salary for the selectmen increased?
Because they did it last year.
You had an increase
Town
mid-year,
meeting.
starting in July.
Oh, that's right, we only went to July, we didn't go to January with it. So
Right.
this is a reflection
July
of,
to January.
That's a reflection
this
for a
is
few
12
years.
months instead of 6 months.
Right.
Thank you.
So here you have, and not to try to explain the administrative budget, but just the format. Again, you have the years listed out, and there are, in the second column, you have notes. So A, B, and C show on the first page, and those relate to, various comments that Joyce has put in to explain, information about that particular line. The far right-hand side column should not have showed, it was just what I used to tally up the different categories of things.
The code,
Right.
okay.
So that'll be off the next one.
What did you plug in for a rate for the administrative secretary position?
Well, that's a combination of...
Right, but when you figured it out
For a new
from April
position?
1st going forward?
$20 an hour.
Thank you.
Well, that's what's in here. It's loaded in currently, just as a planning number.
Okay. That's as of April 1st, right?
April 1st, that's correct. So in any event, in each of these departments then, you have the information regarding, each of the years. And the town clerk tax collectors, probably the most notable item there is A, which the town clerk has put in for an increase for her salary. And that's on page 7. And that represents a 14.5% increase over the 2014 wage.
14 and a half?
14.5% increase.
What is the administrative dues for?
Back on administrative. I believe
You
the
look at
administrative,
A, it says dues, it
Yep.
lists the dues.
NHMA, if you go to page 5, you'll see under A, NHMA, page
Oh.
350.
What is
New
NHMA?
Hampshire Municipal Association.
LGC.
What are those for? Just belonging?
Yeah, those are our annual membership
That's
dues.
just belonging?
with that, we get all their,
What's NHMMA?
that's New Hampshire Municipal Managers Association. Those are my professional
That's a
dues.
dues.
Okay, and NHAAO?
New Hampshire Assessing
NHRRA.
Recycling.
Why do we pay dues to recycling?
They're the organization that markets all of our recyclables.
Wait a minute.
NRRA.
We give them our recyclables,
Yes.
take no money for them, and we pay them to take them?
These are the
It's a
things-
small amount.
We don't just
Token answer.
give them away.
We don't get any monies for them.
Yeah, we do.
They pay
Yeah, we
us.
do,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They do.
I thought you guys didn't make that deal.
Lead from batteries and Dennis, we've been doing
That's
this.
Dennis's stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Is
this
that the recycling you're talking about?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
this is a separate thing from curbside or any of that.
And as members also, they get, people get to take advantage of conferences and dinner.
We get a
training.
reduced rate at the conference I've been going to in June.
Where does it, hold on, I got it right here.
So in any event, just to point out the notable items, that was the town clerk tax collector's line. We have one item in finance that's coming off of our debt, which is the Northern Shores Nose Road. And it's very little this particular year, and what you'll see is, if you look at our principal, it looks like it's going up and our interest is going down, and that's what happens when you get to the end of payments.
That's a sewer debt, though, paid by the users.
Excuse me?
That's a sewer debt paid by the users.
We don't, no. No. But
Everybody pays it. Go ahead and
everybody
say
pays
it.
Right.
Everybody shares.
But the end of life on notes, you see the principal increase as the interest decreases, so that's why you see this particular anomaly this year.
Can we go to the IT?
Sure. So,
It's including $12,808, one-time non-recurring items.
that's correct, and I do have on page, I have this split out in more detail. In fact, I think it's your back page of the whole report. So you can see the components of hardware, software, services, communications, supplies, and salary. And the new items are really in hardware, software, and services.
So,
Jeez.
let's go back to hardware. Did we approve that?
The body cameras? Mm-hmm. Not as of yet, no, and that's part of the discussion. As well as, there's an equipment line in the police department report, in the police department's budget, which also has a number of items in it.
We should not have items in this budget that we have not approved.
Well, these
Our
are the
department
department requests.
requests.
Yeah, but they still shouldn't be, we haven't even met with them.
Well, right, but these are the requests of the department heads.
Right, that's what they do every year.
And then we'll.
Right, and then-
we'll
We meet with them
chop
and
as
cut
we
it.
see fit.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to know what the budget looks like if they got all of their wishes.
Well, I don't. I want the
This is
budget to
it.
be the same as next year, except
That's
for
what
the
this
wages.
is.
I want to spend less this year than we did last year.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Oh, I know, but I still want that.
Okay.
I have,
All right, so if we're back on this,
The one-time,
the one-time items, the
yeah,
charges of $8,708, what's the $5,744
well,
for?
the majority of this is in software, because part of the way, their main application that they use in the PD is called IMC software.
Yep.
And it's now TriTech, but IMC has all these different components to it. There's two components, well, more than two, that the chief wants, but we whittled it down to two. One is a cross-agency support, so that they can see what's happening in other agencies surrounding them, in terms of somebody getting pulled over, somebody, loose with a gun, whatever it is. And then the other item is a backfill, so that they're not having to rekey Social Security numbers, driver's license information, vehicle information, that it can be pulled directly from SPOTS, which is the state police data, and pulled directly into IMC. So basically a copy in, and then they just have to put in what the individual information was pertaining to that stop or pertaining to the arrest or whatever it might be. Today, the way it's working is everything gets either written up hand-wise or called in to the dispatcher, and then the dispatcher makes a note, they get information from the officer, and then as they have time, they fill it in. But it's a very inefficient process, and when the officers have to do it, as it's told to me, there are often opportunities for transposition of numbers, or the Social Security number is wrong, the driver's license number was wrong, license number was wrong, or something, because they're taking something that was transcribed and then, re-entering it, as opposed to just pulling up SPOTS and dumping all the pertinent information in, name, address, there's a lot of stuff that gets pulled in. So those are the two items. Now, the way IMC works is you pay an upfront license fee for those. And the one that I just described was more than $5,000 about 2 years ago. But it's come way down, and we can get a 3-month trial on it as well. So we can even put that out some. But after that, there's an 18.5% annual maintenance fee for both of those.
Those are updates and software changes.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. Which currently we pay about $6,000 a year for all the updates to IMC of the modules that we do have. And we don't have all the modules, but we have a decent amount. But these are the things that the chief really wanted to have. He wanted another module as well, which when he and I discussed it, I just felt as though that these were the ones that were the highest priority from him, and that we whittled it down to these, and he was in agreement with that, and so that's how these ended up in here.
Let me ask you one quick question while we're still on IT.
Yep.
The Celebrate cell phone forensic maintenance, even though 3M is paying for the $5,000 to buy this program or this unit to do this, we have a maintenance fee of $1,100?
That's correct.
A year?
A year.
I thought it wasn't going to cost us anything.
No, it does, because if you think about it, think about how often cell phones come out.
Can I just
They have to
intervene on
update it.
this for a second? The director of the FBI just came out in September, as well as 2 weeks ago, furious because Apple, with their new software, is encryption automatically, and there is no way, even if you're the NSA, to crack that. Android is switching over, and they'll be doing it. So this piece of equipment will be null and void and useless
By the time we get it.
by the time we get it, and we
I
get it
read
for
that.
free from the state crime lab if we want.
Google can't even
So
crack
why
encryption.
are we spending
Apple can't even tell you what's
plus
on that phone.
$1,000 a month for
Google's
something the FBI can't
been
even
encrypted
use?
for
No,
6
I know.
years.
I saw that as well.
Apple can't
I
even tell you
about
what
that.
pictures are on
And-
that phone.
Well,
So I-
and if I
Most
may,
of those devices have encryption capability. You just need to use it.
Why is it still on the budget?
well, it's...
Because he's got to come in and ask for
It's
it.
in
He
there
hasn't
because
given-
I talked
We
to
haven't
him.
said
Well,
no.
the chief was coming in with that, and
Next week.
this is one of the things that I think is really
think you
important
should-
for the board to consider. As your finance director, I think you really need to get the full big picture of, Chief, what's your plan, for the year, personnel-wise, what are your priorities, what, initiatives are you doing, what are your goals for the year, what sort of metrics are you going to have to track those, and then how, whenever he comes to you and says, well, I need this or I need that, okay, well, let's pull out your plan. So how does this fit into that plan? Because that, I think, is really, it will help him, because it will give him the ability to support his plan when new things come up that reinforce and maybe cost less than something else he thought he was going to have to do. And it'll also help you, because you'll have a greater perspective in terms of length of time and amount of money that he's looking at and resources that he needs, over a period of time. So I would recommend...
It's not going to have anything to do with wanting a piece of equipment that's going to be null and void in 2 months.
No, well...
What you just said was absolutely wonderful, I get it, but that's just taking you off the hook for not being put in the middle of it.
We'll hear it next week.
I'm not trying to...
No, we'll hear it this week. We're hearing it Thursday,
I
right?
put the maintenance in because he was coming to get that. And I was anticipating that if he's got a grant for it, then he would get it. My thing is, if you have an overall plan, the board would then say, well, gee, chief, if you've got $5,000 from, this company or that company, why are you going to go buy something that's not on your plan today? Why not put it towards tasers, or put it towards this or that you have previously identified as your highest priority items? That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Yeah,
and the other thing too
you
is
can't put it towards tasers because it's a gun.
Well...
spots.
But my point is just that...
You got vests, you got in-dash things.
That's
you
correct,
got
there's other things.
Something
correct.
that we already
You're
get.
absolutely right, but that was a poor example, and I
Yeah.
want the public, because we're on the TV, to know that
Why we didn't
that's
buy
a
it
very
with the
poor
tasers. Yeah.
For example.
example.
Okay. All right, sorry for the poor
The grant
example.
doesn't come to buy tasers. The grant could come for something other in the department that would be more helpful,
Right.
that wouldn't be obsolete in a month.
And I'm not aware of what the grant details were, so...
All right.
Spots,
Yes.
spots. We're paying for the first spot,
No,
and then we're paying for 2 spot terminals?
well, so...
They have to have 2 places
So,
where it comes in?
In the past, we've paid $5,000 a year for our spots terminals. And now, with this hardware that we just put in and services that we contracted for, we've now gotten off the state's system that we're going to pay $5,000 a year for, but...
How many terminals?
We have 3. And for us to add anything to it, any additional terminals, we've got to license that software from one company that kind of has a monopoly on this because it's secure information. And there's a single source of this. And it's been identified that there's probably at least 1, if not 2, needed. There's some decisions the chief could make to move one. Currently, there's 2 in the detective's office and 1 at dispatch. And the chief could move one of the detectives to the booking computer or to the squad room so that it's more accessible to people. And in terms of their training, not to get ahead of the chief, but as I understand it from the chief, what they're looking to do is rather than sending officers to a 4-hour course where they just have the MDT training, that's required every year, they can send them to an 8-hour course that's only required every 2 years, and then they can have access to the full spots. So it'll help them with their investigations, and it makes it a little easier to schedule, and parse out the training. So, in any event, I put these in the event that we need additional terminals.
So, are you saying that the first one is paying for the 3 we have? And the next one down that says software desktop updates 2 spots is for 2 additional, so that would be a total of 5?
I'm trying to see where you're looking.
Under software, on the back page.
Yep.
Because 3 costs,
Yeah, no, it's just that one line. It is just that one line, the 2,000,
then what is TriTech LEN data attached to spots?
okay, that is the essentially the copy information from spots into IMC so they don't have to rekey it that I just described. And then the cross-agency support is the next one down.
Yep. So the software desktop updates is 2 spots terminals, not 3.
That's correct.
2.
Yeah.
thought you said-
Yeah, no, we have 3 currently, and we're not going to be billed for those until the state figures out how...
But we will eventually be billed for
Probably in
them.
2016.
Okay.
I've been told, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Yeah,
Okay.
so this is,
This is additional, so that would be increases to 5.
that's correct. 2015, yeah.
Which line? That's the
That's a
Plan.
1, 2, 3, 4, fifth item down.
software.
Under software.
Yes.
Okay, I got another question if we're off IT.
Oh, I'm happy to get off IT. Thank you, Pat.
Oh, welcome back.
If you've got other questions, you can go
Thank
ahead.
you, Pat.
If you've got other questions,
Like
we can
drink water.
continue.
I'm still licking my wounds from my poor
Waiting for Al.
example.
Well, you're going to come in before us anyway to explain it, right? Again?
Yes.
I'm going to hear about this
I'm
a
leaving
couple
it
days
alone.
from now. Do I have a sharp tongue tonight or what? I'm sorry.
I pride myself in that.
I apologize. I don't mean any hurt
I was
by it.
misinformed, so, yes.
Okay, why are we moving police liability to the admin line?
We did that last year, and
Insurance.
this is just shown for comparison purposes only, because otherwise, when you get to these lines, you wouldn't be able to add up if that weren't there.
Okay.
In the police budget, you wouldn't get to the same.
And that's part of the moves we did last year, okay. I just didn't remember it. I knew with the telephone we did it, but,
Yeah.
What new hardware are we going for this year?
The hardware is really in, I have a replacement system list. It's even smaller than this, so I got to figure out a way to get it printed out a little bigger. But in that 5-year plan that I had last year for you, I've just updated it and, rolled over a year. The body cameras, those are from WatchGuard. They're
So those are included in,
2 inches by 4 inches that are about where a tie clip would sit, and they have one button on
it
them.
was 4 of those?
Right, and 3 for the frontline cruisers and 1 for a supervisor, or we're often running 2 frontline and a supervisor, and there could be a backup. So either way, and then a whole smattering of SD cards. So each officer would have 2 SD cards, one that would be active at any one time and one that would be sneaker netted to be downloaded if there's anything on it for them, so they can rotate them. So each individual will be, given 2. And those are very inexpensive. I'll leave the discussion of the effectiveness of the body cameras to the chief, but camera systems, as you know, are very expensive for automobiles, and oftentimes, if you've ever looked at any of these, a lot of times you can see the cruiser sitting behind another car or sitting looking at some people, but then all the action happens off camera, and you don't see what's happening. And that's where a body camera would, be capturing whatever is taking place at that point in time. So,
Has the technology for these cameras progressed to the point where this isn't just throwing money out the window? I mean, we can recall a good, clear copy of the action as it happened and the accompanying sound, and it's not going to break down,
Yep.
and they're going to remember to turn it on and use it.
well,
that's doubtful.
this
And
does...
there's software associated with this stuff too, right?
No, they're very simple devices. It's smaller than this with one button on it, and there's an SD card. It's very, very simple.
Even I could use it.
The new version.
I'm not a camera guy.
Well, I saw this morning on the news where there's a California company that now has an alert that when a gun is drawn from a holster, that it sends an alert to dispatch. So,
Oh, that'll be in next year's
well,
budget.
no, I'm just telling you, you think about the information flow, or when it's discharged. I couldn't remember exactly what they said, but in any event, that's the hardware, primarily the hardware. The rest of it is upgrades, replacements. We still have an awful lot of older systems at the PD that are not commercial level systems that we've had to replace, but I think I'm going to be able to bring this number down some because I was able to buy some recently off of lease. So I'm going to be able to take 2 out of this number. I just have to sit down and go through the census of systems again.
Can I ask you about highway?
Yes.
I understand the highway part-time wages,
Okay.
but I would think that it would have been offset in the salaries crew, and it doesn't. It looks like it's gone up.
That's because he's adding another person for this next year. So he's planning on having 2 part-time people for the winter.
That's just
That's in part-time wages.
That's in
Is that
part.
what you're talking about, part-time wages?
No, I understand why
Oh,
the
okay.
part-time wages, because of that,
Okay.
but why the increase in the crew, salary crew?
That's simply a result of the higher wages from merit increases. In other words, the part-time
That's not
wages
in
aren't
there.
offsetting.
No, because
Well,
merit increases would be in line 5 there,
that's
226.
That's correct, but every year, once those wages are in, starting July, then that wage is their base wage for the following year. So each year, the merit, the 2013 merit is now part of their
Oh,
base
so you're
wage.
saying that that was the increase is actually this past year's
That's
merit
correct.
raise? Okay, I got you. I'm on
How many
board now.
dispatchers do we have?
One.
Well,
And
One,
somebody
but while
that
you-
fills in when necessary, but
however,
We've had one on disability, and we said to the chief to make sure that there's a backup.
but you really don't have a backup because she's not union.
But did the board discuss changing the name of this line? I recommended changing it from dispatch to support staff, because for comparison purposes, we've always had 2 people budgeted in there, and we still do in this particular budget. But Lisa was moved out of the union.
She's not a dispatcher anymore.
She's
No.
not a dispatcher, and that's
No,
that's why
she's not.
What I was recommending was this really should be titled PD Salaries Support Staff, because that would incorporate both dispatch and what Lisa's doing.
Either
And-
that or break out Lisa's line.
Well, you could do
It's
that.
hard to say, look at this and tell.
No, then you're
you need to tell what Lisa-
singling out,
Well, and then you also lose the history, because if you look back at the history, the dispatch and that person both have been budgeted in there each year. So,
I don't have a problem changing it to support staff.
I don't either.
We always have to explain it anyway. I'll make a motion, we change the wording of line 0178421.30.130, PD salaries, dispatcher wages to PD salaries, support staff.
Second. Discussion?
I don't see that. Now you can lump in the janitors and any damn buddy you want.
No, you can't, because
Why?
that
They're
would be a
support
different...
staff, aren't they? What's wrong with leaving a dispatcher for the dispatcher? And if we have an administrative person over there, just give them a line. Now, we've taken away the description, such as it is.
But
dispatcher.
we've done that for years.
Yes.
That amount, 94,580, is not what we pay the dispatcher.
No, so
That's what we paid
that
2
extra
people.
salary should be broken out of there. We used to have 2 dispatchers, now we have 1.
One is union and one is not union. So should they be separated in a line item?
Yeah.
Changing it to something ambiguous like support staff, I don't think is really helping the situation, quite frankly.
Hey, we've gone from 1 page to how many?
And I appreciate that. 1 line won't add a page, will it?
So, you know what?
Eventually, yes.
So if somebody came in to part-time to help out with downloading the files or stuff like that, they'd be support staff?
No, they come out of part-time wages.
Yeah, they wouldn't even be support staff. We're just changing a heading for, I don't understand why. Why, Tim, why?
because,
Well, then just put a
Well, I didn't-
Because
slash,
one person is not a dispatcher.
Yeah. I
then
didn't
put
wanna
a
interrupt
slash
your
after
deliberations, but-
dispatcher and put, what's the title of?
Administrative
Terry.
assistant.
Terry's communication specialist.
Communication.
That's what we ought to have, is a communication specialist line, and leave the dispatcher line alone and reduce the wages and shift them over
She
to,
doesn't How can she be a communication specialist? That's what she is?
That's
But
what
yet
she
they
is.
don't want her to do dispatching because she's no longer a union?
That's
So what's
correct.
she communicate?
No, I'm sorry, Terry's communication specialist.
Oh,
Lisa's administrative assistant.
yeah, that's what I was talking about,
I'm
was
sorry.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa's
Okay, you know how I
administrative
feel. Moving on. Call the question.
You all set, John?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
No.
Aye. So we don't do any,
I'm sorry, Joe, were you an
Yeah,
aye
leave it
or?
convoluted. Let's go.
I'm a nay. I didn't
Dispatch.
You were an nay? All right,
I
so,
have
all
to leave in 7 minutes.
right, so it's 2 to 2.
Question on the
That's correct.
health insurance, police department, what's the percentage that they pay in?
They pay in 14.5%.
it's contractual, John,
What does the rest of the town pay in?
12%.
Why is it different?
Because they're contractual, they negotiate their wages.
But they got it, they
They
pay more,
negotiate it.
right?
That's the way it works out.
They get better
Page-
wages.
Page 22 also has a list of rates and things that are used throughout this budget. So as you go through the budget, you'll see notes following most of the budgets, and in particular, I'll just draw your attention in Public Works, the A and B, it's relating to the retirement and a new position. So one of the positions is part-time for 1,280 hours, and then the other position, the replacement, is coming in for 17 weeks. So there's an overlap of roughly 2 weeks in there. The new position is budgeted at just under $68,000.
All of that is in one line?
Yes. It's all budgeted in the highway public
And the
works budget, so
72.072 is both?
It's both, that's correct.
So we have an opportunity to look through this, and on Thursday, we will have a further evaluation, further numbers of what we discussed in non-public. The chief will be here because he's going to give us a demonstration on what we know now is obsolete on Thursday. The other thing we should probably do is find a time when scheduled time, Catherine, in the next few minutes, to have the department heads come in and explain their budgets to us. I mean, it's not fair to Tim to sit here and answer the questions.
Take one and do them every Thursday after this week?
Well, we have Monday nights as budgets, right? Do you want them to be as part of the Monday night budget, or do you want them to be as part of the Thursdays? What do we think, board?
I'm out of town next week, so either way works for me ordinarily.
If we're going to have a full board, it's going to have to be part of Thursday night's discussion.
And
Oh,
if
you're not
Al
gonna
is
be
not
here.
going to be around for the Monday night meetings, it's got to be Thursday, because he should have access to the
So we'll-
department head for questions.
And if you're gone, that would leave us only 3 for Monday night.
Well, only the 1 week.
That's
Only
okay.
the 1 week, right?
Only the
So,
1 week.
You've been missed.
I guess you have been missed.
Well, I'm sorry I wasn't here. I was only gone twice.
So we have to submit our budget, I believe it's the 10th,
We present our
December
budget
to-
to them on the 10th,
on the
but
10th, right?
it doesn't have to be final on the 10th.
Well, here's an idea, just so I was getting at. If we, today's the 27th, Joe's not going to be here on the 3rd, election, and then, so November 6th, you're not going to be here, right?
That Thursday. I'll be back the week following for Monday.
So what if we did not have the, on November 3rd, the budget, because we'll only have 3 of us, because we would really like to have more, and then have the 10th budget meeting, and then the 13th, the 20th, and the 13th and the 20th, block out an hour for highway and PD, and have highway and PD come in.
Yep.
And then the 27th is Thanksgiving. The 4th, block out an hour, and then we can have parks and the other departments,
Okay.
welfare and town clerk. All right? Do you get that?
These are all, everything's
I have-
Thursdays. We're not,
So we'll block out an hour of the agenda on Thursday so that we just talk about budget and budget only.
We have-
And that's where we have a full board.
Let's make sure we don't schedule other things during those
Yeah.
weeks that are going to
Right.
send us here until 10 o'clock.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I mean, I will do
Tell 'em,
everything
yeah,
possible
Just send them
not to schedule
into
anything.
January.
Okay.
So, the November 10th budget meeting, then, who do you want in then?
The November 10th budget meeting is just going to be with the selectmen who's going to be here. That's just us. On November 13th, we'll have whoever can make it highway or PD
Okay.
for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then the 20th, it will be the other one,
Okay.
highway or PD. And then on December 4th, it will be welfare, health, land use, parks,
Town clerk.
town clerk,
Why are we reviewing her budget?
Because her budget is our budget.
our budget.
These
Part
are
of it.
departments
Her wages
within
are
the
not
selectmen's
ours, but
budget.
her other
The entire
parts.
budget is the selectmen's
No,
budget.
no, I understand that, but,
Right.
I mean, she comes up with...
Postage, admin, conferences,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okey doke.
Kim's conferences.
There's what, 2 conferences that she's required to go to.
Right.
Everything other than those
I
are
mean, it's,
extra. I have to leave, but I want to make one point to the selectmen. I have a meeting downstairs. Just before I go, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I promised I'd bring this up. The school, middle school, this is going to be our last election there next week. They really, really want us to use the outside door in the front as an ingress. We're going to have some
We
trippers.
do that now?
No, I'm talking about the side door directly into the gym.
Oh,
Okay.
instead of coming through the office,
The
yeah.
handicap will still have to come through the office, and people are still going to come through there.
Yeah.
So it requires, because we're responsible for the setup, it's going to require us to simply move the ballot box as you're sitting there facing in from the left to the right, because they'll be going out that door. So we just need your approval. One of the drawbacks to using that door, which is why we've never used it in the past, is it's a trip hazard.
We'll have to have a ramp or something.
No ramp, we don't
If
have,
somebody falls and hurts themselves.
we don't have time to make a ramp. We can either go back the way we were and not use it, or use it. You have, the door opens directly from the outside to in, so the supervisors and the ballot clerks are probably going to be cold if the temperature is cold.
Yeah.
If it's raining, all that rain's going to come in because
On
they
their
don't have the
floor.
foyer, yeah. So you'll have a slip hazard. I'm just, and I'm pointing, these are all the reasons why it was never used in the past.
can we bring one of our rugs from here?
They're really concerned, then you're just going to have a sloppy rug slipping on the slippery floor.
Yeah, I guess.
You're going to have 2 officers in the school. One needs to be in the election, and one's going to be stationed out in the lobby to make sure people don't stray down the hallways. It's a security issue.
what happens if somebody has to go to the bathroom because that's behind where that door is? Because we're going to use the 2,
Not the 2 in the back.
yeah, we're using the 2 closest doors to the front.
We're going to use the...
One
yep,
outside
if
and
you-
the one that we go in.
The one that we go in is going to become our exit.
Okay.
If somebody needs to use the bathrooms, they'll have to
use.
use them in the lobby. There'll be a policeman in the lobby. There has to be a policeman in the lobby at all times.
At all times, yeah.
During this election.
Okay, I still don't get the using that trip hazard door that...
It was a
We have to do it
conversation.
that way, Catherine, that's your condition?
They would not budge for this one last?
No, we can let them know that we're going to go back to the other way because of these hazards, if that's what we choose. It's the selectmen's responsibility. This was a conversation between the town moderator and the principal of the high school.
Yeah.
It is a preference, only for security reasons, but they didn't recognize these other reasons why, which is why we've never used
Oh, so
the
you
door in the
weren't part of
past.
the conversation.
Well, I was there because I was asked to be there, but because the rest of the board
Right,
wasn't,
you could make the decision.
there was no decision on my part, I just listened.
I would
And I said,
rather-
I'm going to bring it to the Board of Selectmen to decide how they want to set this up.
I'd like to go the old way for the one last time. It's
No
too much
changes.
for the elderly, and it's going to be a huge election this year.
Well, that's the concern, it's a big election.
Yeah.
I would rather.
You could have
just-
people waiting outside in the rain
Okay.
and making it
If we
difficult for them
could,
to vote.
if they're adamant about it, we've got to come up with some other alternative to, like
Another officer.
a
I would
slant
rather
or
have
something.
another officer than some elderly lady can't make the step or.
Or standing in the rain.
falls or, no.
It's such a,
Ice
it's
storms
such a,
outside.
insignificant step, but it
Yeah.
is a trip
It's like
step.
a-
I tripped on it, bringing stuff in and out.
I do too,
and
every
was
time I
fully
use the
aware
door.
that it was there.
All
By
right,
odd height.
is that the consensus?
Yep.
I would
Keep it the
rather keep
same?
it the way it is.
Okay.
Have another officer if that allays their concerns
Okay.
about safety of the building.
Okay.
I understand that concern, but I don't.
Could I,
All right.
just one thing, I don't know if you want to do it now or on Thursday, but I would like to make a motion that we do not allow any grant application to be submitted without prior approval by the Board of Selectmen.
Can we do it Thursday?
You want to do that Thursday?
Well, John,
What do you guys think about it?
When Al's here,
When
we're
Al's
here.
here, we should have a full
Go over
board.
here.
I don't
Sorry, I have to
disagree
go.
with you, but I think Al should be able to weigh in.
I don't
Something-
agree, I'd like Al to weigh in too, but I'm just curious who are you? Is it for one department, or is that everyone?
Everybody, that before somebody goes, because a lot of these grants could encumber us into things or get us involved in things that we may not want to be going down. And we've got, it's, once somebody applies for a grant,
Yeah,
and we think, well, maybe it should be applied more towards something that we need. Once they apply for the grant,
yeah, but
We lost it.
okay, so you talking about, I often apply for grants for the senior center, and they're a money grant, they're very specific to the product that you're asking for, a commercial dishwasher. I can't buy anything else with that. If I get $4,500 and Franklin Savings Bank gives me $4,500, I can't spend it on something else.
yeah,
So what you're saying is I need to come to the Board of Selectmen to ask permission to go get a commercial dishwasher for the senior center.
for a grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say the selectmen would be foolish to say no. I'm sure everybody's got.
I just want to, I
Yeah.
just was curious. There's,
It's
Just
gonna
to-
be one size fits all.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about your motives,
Yeah.
but just so that we're aware of what grants are being put out there in the name of Tilton, too.
Just something to think about, and maybe you guys can look at the proper way to word it or anything, but
We'll talk about it
Switch it.
Thursday for
That'll
sure.
be-
one more thing before we adjourn. We have IT finance and admin that also is a department that has to be on. So I think what probably we should suggest is we only have those 3 weeks to, knowing that we have a full board, we have those 3 weeks that we will, before we present, unless we present on the 17th instead, maybe we can block out an hour and a half, and then like highway and finance, and then police and, or highway and health, or in police, and we'll work it out. All right? Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
And block out that time, and then it's so that you don't have to come every week, but just come once, and we'll divvy it up. All right? All right, well, that was great. I appreciate it, Tim.
This is round one.
No, I know.
This is
Well, I'll
And-
I'll have a lot more information for you, but...
on these, right?
Right, I took down a lot of notes, and we'll have all that for you. Joyce and I will for Thursday.
Wonderful.
One other thing, we discussed possibly sharing this on Wednesday night. Remember we talked about that?
But the 2014 figures, not the 2015?
I wouldn't yet, because we have,
The 2014s?
I can generate it for
if he breaks it
2014.
out, I would be able
Because
to,
they had other numbers that are...
exactly.
un-
Right, because there's other numbers in there that we haven't even said okay to.
But
Could we
I-
do the 2000, like you
I
said,
can
the
do
14, so they get an idea on where money is,
I can do that.
percentage where? It's really helpful. I like that.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you explain, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
For Wednesday night?
the percentage of...
By category.
By category.
Oh,
They
okay.
want the report to
first.
reflect, not with the 2015 figures, because the Budget Committee hasn't seen it yet, but for 2014, but to show them how we're currently apportioned percentage-wise by category, and I can do
Yeah.
You're
that.
talking about
Yeah.
page 2.
Page 2,
Okay.
yeah, and I can do that.
Because there's a lot of what-ifs in this particular
Right,
document.
There are.
that we haven't,
Yes.
And I don't want to scare anybody, and to get them, it'll extend their meetings by an hour, and may be to no good purpose whatsoever.
Right. Okay,
Bless you.
thank you.
all right.
And before, meeting's still going on?
Yep.
We just for other business. I was going to say, we
should-
need another person for the Budget Committee if anybody
Okay.
wants
Who
to.
left?
Well,
Same.
they still haven't filled that
Tim?
one.
Before you go, can I just ask you 2 really quick questions? One's a favor. Is there
I
any
make a
way-
motion, we adjourn.
And I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Oh, yeah.
Aye.
Pages?
Yeah,
I would like to nominate.
Okay, I just can't, I'm
Scott
trying,
Davis
I've
to fill
got
that
to...
slot.
He's scared.
Davis, I know you're watching
Okay,
this.
all right, so it could be
No, it
landscape,
will.
okay.
You're the-
Tried to get him. I've been trying.